So we are semi-live here at Kingdom MMA, and we are joined, guest host, again, Mr. Lane, over here to my left. And we got a very, very, very important special guest that Lane's going to introduce for us.
Yeah, my longtime training partner, coach, and friend, Aaron Kapiczowski. Welcome to the show, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. So, what I want to know, just kind of start us off, people who don't know, and we can kind of go full circle with it. Take us from your transition post-secondary, like high school, end of that era, to kind of where we are now, and then we'll go back through it, if you don't mind.
Oh, man. Okay. Graduated high school. I was accepted to U of A for phys ed under the charade that I told my parents that I was going to become a physiotherapist. Physiotherapy or a police officer was what I told everyone.
Nice.
Because I didn't think I would get support if I said I'm going to go open up an MMA gym after university. So I graduated. I didn't get into physiotherapy. I didn't get into sports psychology or any of the things that I looked at for school. And then I did my practicum at another MMA gym. So I was managing that. The head coach quit with no notice. He quit on a whim. So I kind of walked into the head coaching position because no one else was there. And then we said, why are we doing this for somebody else? We can do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
I was already coaching Craig then. I was training with Lane. And Craig and I decided we were going to give it a go, and we opened up Kingdom.
Nice. So, take us through for you, business-wise, like focusing on that side of it. What was a challenge for you getting that going?
Man, there were a lot. We had no business training. We had no business experience. I didn't even have anyone that I would say was a mentor that I could go to and ask questions. And even as like a Muay Thai coach, I didn't have someone that I was saying, I'm now the head coach of a program, what should I be doing? I didn't have that. So we started ground up with everything, which is a big leap of faith. You're just making decisions and going, yeah, this is how we're going to do our gym. This is what it's going to look like. This is how we'll set up our front desk. Mm-hmm. And we just hope it works. We think it through and we go, well, we think this is logical. I think the biggest challenge for starting the business was dealing with the municipal government side of it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Being like I have a phys ed background. I don't know how to read that sort of paperwork. I've never done that sort of paperwork. Craig's the same way. So trying to navigate the ins and outs of getting a business license and zoning. Zoning is incredibly tricky to figure out, and it's such a barrier. That sort of stuff that almost stopped us a few times, just trying to deal with the city. And
oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Dealing with the city can be a nightmare, right? Like that's something I think that most people wouldn't think of when opening a business, right? Yeah, definitely. Silly things like our floor plan. Okay, we draw up our floor plan. We come in and the guy goes, this isn't up to standards. We go, okay, come back, do it again. Not up to standards. We hire someone, they do it up, and they just take up my pencil drawing, they put it onto their computer and redraw it on the computer, and the next guy goes, no problem, this looks great. So you go, it's the exact same drawing.
They send you an invoice for $2,000.
Yeah.
You're like, Here we go. Jeez. Yeah, that can be frustrating. I think there's something to be said too, like there's a lot though to be said, right? Going through that kind of a process, that early, because mid-20s when that happens, early 20s, right?
Yeah.
Jeez. That's
super young, right? Yeah, at the time you guys would have been, like early 20s.
I was 22, 23.
Wow,
when we were opening.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. Well, the bit I've trained you, like, I really enjoyed the atmosphere. And what I was telling Elaine about earlier, I think it was last night or this morning, was it's an energy that, like, I've gone to a bunch of gyms and I've seen, like, a bunch of different, like, the way people interact. And it's, as much as it's a group of killers, it's still, like, everybody's so sweet. Mm-hmm. Like, it's very, very interesting to see that dynamic.
It's definitely not like a meathead kind of gym. Right?
Yeah.
We don't give off that vibe, right?
Yeah. Like, how do you go about, I guess, creating your ideal energy for what you want your business or gym in this case to be? Like, how do you go about that?
So that was a pretty conscious effort from the start when we were drawing up our business plan and talking about what we wanted the gym to look like. We did a lot of looking at gyms. You know, we would look, the gyms that we'd been to personally, but we would just hop on the internet and look at successful gyms and say, do we want to emulate these guys? What does this coach look like? What does their culture look like? We'd been in the sport for a long time, so we had a pretty good idea. And then one of the big things that it's funny to just be like, well, this is our statement, like a mission statement. How much does that actually affect? But we said we want to be a professional athlete gym, not a fighter gym.
Interesting.
And so just that mentality in our heads was, okay, well, the gym is going to be, it's going to have a modern look. It's going to be clean. Our athletes are going to be clean looking. They're going to have a modern look. We're not just pumping out fighters. We're going to conduct ourselves in that way. So, and just going about that, we looked at GSP, and just that image of, he didn't show up wearing Affliction and Tap Out shirts. He showed up in a suit, and it's like those silly little cultural things.
Yeah.
That if you're approaching it as the head coach, like culture is top down.
Right.
So if we go in and say, no, guys, we are professional athletes, and that's the gym we're going to have, then everyone's going to fall in line and either accept that, or if they go, I really hate this culture, I don't want to be here, they'll just, okay, well, there's other gyms.
Yeah.
And there is the difference between, like what you said, like a professional athlete gym and like a fighter gym. Whereas like I've been to gyms where it's like kind of grungy and like it's like old school. Whereas this, I feel like Kingdom is like very sharp. Like it's, and there's other gyms that are like similar, but yeah.
Well, and we've had people train here and they leave and they go to another place and people ask if that hurts, and it doesn't bother me. There's a gym for everyone. And so, some guys are going to have big success out of a dirty, grungy gym, and that works better for them. It's like, that's not me. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to build the gym that I want, and if other people like that product, they'll come here. And if people don't like that product, they'll find somewhere that they like better.
Which is fine, right? Yeah.
Totally.
So what was the biggest shift for you guys to make, like the biggest challenge you faced in regards to the business gym side of what happened with the pandemic? Because Lane was telling me earlier that you guys nobody got really much information from the government, right? Like there's just like, okay, this is closed and then that's it. There's no, like what was something you guys can kind of attribute the success coming forward from it?
Man, that was like that was like a scary time. Yeah. And for what you guys said, it's I heard about COVID, I think I heard about it 10 days before we were closed.
Yeah, there was no like notice, right?
Really?
It was just kind of like bang, like
come on,
shut it down.
I came into work. Craig was watching a YouTube video and saying, "Man, what do you think about this?" And I said, "I haven't heard about that." And he said, "It's pretty scary." And I went, "Nah."
Yeah,
don't worry about it, man.
Like, yeah, exactly. Right, yeah.
And 10 days later, we were closed, and we were told 2 weeks, but I couldn't believe that they could just close my business.
Yeah.
We got basically no aid. I think that a lot of people thought everyone was getting a lot of help. A lot of people just don't qualify for it. You have to check all these little boxes. We qualified for loans.
Yeah.
We didn't really want to take out loans. We took one.
No, those are tricky.
Took one, we paid it back.
Nice.
But you don't want to take on a whole bunch of debt when you don't know if your business is going to reopen. So there was a lot of strange things. We have always been frugal. Right from day one, we had a lot of other people tell us that we weren't spending enough to open up our business. You have to take on debt. You need to build the facility, and they will come. And we didn't take that approach. We built really slowly, so that when the pandemic hit, it's like we had no debt. We had no costs that were constantly coming out. We could totally shut down here and just pay rent. And that was fine. It's like, well, we're just paying rent. That's the only expense we have.
Nice.
So that was good, My wife definitely helped me out. My fiance, soon to be wife, but my fiance definitely helped me. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. It's nice to be in a position where I can say, well, I guess I'm not taking a paycheck, but she can support us.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we had just enough members that we could pay rent.
Nice.
And again, I just attribute that to culture. We have people that are not fighters that just value the place. A few guys made the comment as, I consider this the same as paying my church, donating to my church. So it's,
Nice.
You have members who are paying, we were doing Zoom classes.
Yeah, you guys were banging out a lot of content,
Yeah, a
which
lot.
also was really helpful, right?
We tried, man, like Zoom classes were going, we had max 6 people ever show up to that, but we had 40 people paying for it who just wanted to keep us going.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Consistent
Shout out
too,
to those
right? Yeah, it was
people,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
We really tried to put out social media, like funny videos and just stay in people's heads. Like, hey, we just have to keep engaging our team, engaging our members, keeping the sense of community alive. So Craig and I were in here almost full work days for a while, trying to just film content and
Nice.
just get a hold of people.
Yeah, and there would be like weekly themes. I remember like tuning in all the time, and there was no end in sight at the time, right? So it was just like, that's all you could do, right?
Yeah.
And you guys killed it with that, yeah.
How do you think you were able to manage the consistency of it? Because that's what I think got a lot of, not just gyms, but like businesses in general, right? Was that it's lasted for this long, right? Like, what do you attribute that to, like getting through that consistency of it?
It happened, I wasn't consistent for a while. There was a period where I was playing a lot of Call of Duty and not I wasn't allowed to work. There's nothing
Yeah.
But got a kick in the butt, and we just approached it the same as we would any other like training scenario. It's like, okay, well, we'll lay out a plan. If I'm laying out a training camp for the guys, well, we block out and we lay out how many days are you running, how many days are you lifting weights, okay?
Nice.
How many days a week am I doing Zoom? How many days a week am I putting out Instagram videos on bag work, conditioning work? How many video series are we going to have for comedy? We started a little video podcast. How many days is that going to come? We just laid it out and went, okay, this is what we're going to try to achieve. We're here for these hours, and now it's a system. Now it's just like showing up for class, for training, for working out, which we're very used to that.
Right.
So.
And it was nice to see that, like, you don't want to, like, having you guys, like, I would see, like, new posts every day, and it would keep me, like, motivated, right, to, like, it's like, oh, these guys, like, they care, like, they want, they're engaging, it definitely helps with the whole process.
It was a message we wanted to get out there, where it's like, look, if we're serious about our sport, it doesn't stop just because we're not at Kingdom.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You can be running, you can be in the field training, we can still be training. It's like, it's not limited to having this space,
Yeah.
which was, it's easier said than done.
Oh,
but
for sure.
it's what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle thing, right? Like, it's not so much where you're going, but then now it's about the people, the friends, the family you created, right, around what Kingdom is for you guys, and then kind of spreading, like you said, a mission. And that statement be like, it's not just, oh, you're here. It's, okay, well, we're a team, right? You can be a team outside of the gym and inside of the gym, right? That's really awesome that you guys are able to kind of push that message and, like, as I think Liam was telling me earlier, like, grow through it, right? Not just, like, kind of coast through it, but, like, grow.
Even through the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Like Kingdom pretty much, like, what is this, like the 6th year that you guys, yeah. And it's only
congrats.
really done this, right? Even with the pandemic and everything, it's like, and also having loyal members is helpful as well, but it's just been a steady trajectory, right?
Which is absolutely, like, amazing, man. Like, that's phenomenal.
Man, both reopening periods, we hit records for memberships.
Oh, wow.
So
Congrats.
with both lockdowns, 3 months after we were back open, we hit records for like our total members.
That's awesome.
Jeez.
We got a new facility during COVID. We also had a few people sign up during COVID. We had a couple guys who are still training with us now. They came in when we were closed and said, I want to look around the gym. I want to meet you guys.
Amazing.
Okay, awesome. Let me know. I'll sign up and I'll start paying when you guys are open. So
Oh, perfect.
some of it, it was really sad to say. It sucks. Some of it is because other gyms didn't make it.
Yeah, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of them that didn't make it too, right? Yeah.
Other gyms didn't make it. Other people used it as a way to get out of their contract at their gym, some of that stuff, and you go, well, just because we're here, we benefited.
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. Now, from a business kind of standpoint, after the 6-7 years you're into now, what would be like, when you guys set out, what did you believe like success was like for you guys as a gym? Would it be like having X amount of professional athletes under your belt, or would it be reaching X amount of pro fights for certain people, or like what is the minimum bar of success for you guys in terms of business?
Kind of twofold. I said I want us to both be able to fully live off the gym.
Amazing, yeah.
Which, you know, that's like the bare
what you want.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
right.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and we didn't for the first year. You know, the 6 months you don't take a paycheck when you own a business.
Right.
So it's
Wow.
like, well, I would like to be able to buy a house off the gym someday. Okay. And then, but always priority number one was a consistently winning fight team.
Nice.
You know, I'd say 70-80% of my members are not fighters and will never fight. They're not interested in that. But again, that is a top-down thing. If you have a really competitive fight team with a great image who are winning fights and are professional about it, more people want to be a part of that, even if they never want to fight.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's why I'm here. I didn't really open a gym to coach, you know, intro level kickboxing fitness classes. I opened a gym to coach professional fighters.
Right.
And to have them compete at the highest level we can get them to. And so that, yeah, we have a consistently winning fight team, and
Damn right.
we have another, yeah, right?
Oh.
I would say we're on our second generation of guys going to be starting soon. You know, we have, like, Lane has been with us from day one, Mitch has been with us from day one. Some of these guys, they're now, like, at the top of the totem pole, you know, and we have a new group coming in, and so that's cool to see.
Lots of promising, like, young guys, like, Dawson's right there, like, you know, yeah, it's exciting to see.
Right, so that says our system is consistent. It's like, okay, well, we can consistently produce good athletes. So then the next bar for me, we've achieved both of those. The next bar is to put someone in the highest level, right? UFC, Bellator 1, Glory. You know, now I'm not satisfied with this. I'm no longer happy even having a regional champ. That's cool, but it's like, well, we've done that. Next, I don't care about this now. I want higher.
And I guess success, like your vision of success too, would also kind of be ever changing, right? Like it's like you reach one goal, it's okay, now it's like on to the next, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My fiance called me on that because I said if I get someone in the UFC, I think I'll be fulfilled. I think I'm happy. And she said, "You're such a liar. If you get one person, you're going to want the next guy.
Yeah.
And then if you get multiple people in the UFC, you'll hunt the championship." It's like, and that's how it goes.
I mean, that's how it should be, right?
How it
Like,
should
like
be.
you never want to be like,
Well said.
you know, satisfied with, you know, you want to constantly be setting the bar higher and achieving more and more of your like goals, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. It's cool to see kind of how, like, the strategy seems to be working, right? Like, approaching, like, do you like convince guys to fight? Like, how does that work, right? Like, do you see them and you're like, yo, man, like, I think we could get you a pro fight, or I think we can get you a fight, we'll see what it goes? Or is there just kind of like, they have to approach you?
Both. You know, I make announcements semi-frequently in class saying, hey, you know, everyone can come spar. In our sign-up package, there's a little blurb about, hey, if you want to compete, come talk to us.
Right.
You know, I say that, hey, if you're interested in fight team practice, come talk to me and I'll tell you how to get there. So the people that approach me, I just go, okay, well, this guy wants to fight, cool. Sometimes there are guys who are, you know, I think they think they're being really respectful, they're just quieter people. Well, I'll go and say, hey, you're welcome to come to fight team anytime.
Oh, nice.
If you want to fight, you're welcome to. And you know, if I don't push it further than that.
Nice.
If they don't want to come, I'm not going to ever pressure anyone to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of you have to want to fight. Like, there's no one's going to be able to be like, hey, I think you should fight. Like, oh, okay. It's like, it's something you have to want to do.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Yeah, it's good that there's like an opening that you can kind of, you create the chance for an opportunity for them to do it, but there's no, because that'd be bad. Just kind of pushing somebody to do something, not just that they don't want to do, but like, they can get hurt.
Yeah, no one should be pressured into fighting.
No, not at all. So that's something that, do you have, so once they get there, right, take me through kind of your strategy to coaching them to that next level. Like, what does that look like, if you can share that?
How so? Like a fighter to a higher level, or
Yeah.
okay.
How do you coach that kind of path?
Man, that is still relatively new to us, right? I don't have anyone in the UFC. So that's the goal right now is to get someone there. So I guess our approach is like keep doing what we're doing. I'm constantly going to elite level coaches and stealing their stuff. Frankly, that's how you do it.
That's the way to do it. Yeah, for sure.
What works, what doesn't work, right? Yeah.
100%. I don't study athletes. I watch fights every day, but I study elite level coaches and go, okay, this guy has this many elite level fighters. I don't count gyms that have one flash in the pan. What is Javier Mendez doing at AKA? What is John Danaher doing? And let's study it, and when I think I get something, let's put it into the program. It was a challenge for a while, because if you don't have a large group of talent, then your best guy doesn't get much reps. It's hard.
Right.
Okay, so now we've got a pretty big group of guys, so that everyone can get a lot of work. All right, so that's kind of, we have a good system. Now we have a talent pool, and now a lot of it's going to be winning fights and management, right? Which is something that I still don't know much about. I'm not a great manager. I don't know how to play the games of booking fights with
Games.
There's a lot goes into it, right? Every fighter I know wants to fight the absolute toughest guy that they can.
Right.
That's not necessarily how people get to the UFC. It's okay. We have to scout opponents, make sure that we're winning multiple fights in a row.
Yeah, it's huge.
Social media presence does matter. Having a manager that has a boss who has someone in the UFC. Otherwise you're just waiting for a phone call. Well, you don't want to just sit around and wait for the UFC.
Nothing ever happens for those people.
Yeah. So we're learning that. We have a manager for Craig now, who we're learning a lot from, and so I guess that's kind of the next step. So I think we have the talent. I think we have the system. Now it's getting fights booked and getting fights booked well through a manager. The only other thing that I'm really starting to encourage of guys is when they're a good level pro, I think we send them to somewhere else.
Interesting.
Go to another big camp. Go to another camp that has other guys in the UFC and has put other guys in the UFC.
Yeah.
And go there. Almost every elite fighter I know does that or has done that. So it's like, well,
Yeah, different looks, different skill. Like, yeah, just that. I think that's really important too, because you want to be in the same pond all the time. Yeah, you want to be you don't want to be comfortable all the time either. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did George St. Pierre go to Greg Jackson's when he trained at TriStar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
For that reason.
Because it's good to go get another elite level coach's opinion and train with other high level guys that aren't your friends, and it's not your business, it's not your hometown.
Yeah.
So
Take it completely out of your element.
Yeah.
You're just going, here's a bunch of new people who you don't know, new space, new city, new province, country, or new country in that case.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is really cool with the sport and where it's kind of going, because it's still, talking about this earlier, Liam, but it's very, very, still relatively new, right? So kind of seeing how everybody develops, and people develop quick, man. It's ridiculous. But going to other gyms and kind of seeing like me being here this weekend, for example, right? Seeing completely different styles than what I'm used to. Because you plateau in rounds when you're used to the same guys, the same 6 or 7 rounds with people. It's okay, you know how this guy's going to tap me. I know how this guy's going to tap me out, but I know how I can tap this person out. But then there's no what if. Whereas okay, it's all new people. I don't know what belt or level you're at. So there's different things. There's a lot of unknowns, right? There's a lot of uncertainty. I think it makes for just a better athlete and more confidence, just as a person in general.
I think one of the biggest things about going to a different camp, if you're on the cusp, if you're a pro and you think, man, I think I could make the elite level, well, go be around guys who are in the elite level, and it's going to do one of two things. If you're not doing something that they are, it's going to show you that.
Right.
Where you go, man, I hung out with these guys for 3 weeks, and they train way more than me. or the intensity of their training is higher.
Yeah.
Or I talk to them and their diet is way better than mine. Okay, well, you're going to see that and you will know that and you'll make that change. Or you're going to go there and go, hey, I'm doing the right things. And, actually their classes look the same as ours. And, their strength and conditioning is about the same as mine. And now you've got confidence. Now you're not sitting there going, I don't know. It's you've either seen it and you've seen a deficit in your training and you've improved it, or you say, this is fairly comparable to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I know that I can make it.
Yeah, it's awesome, right? It kind of lets yourself know that you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Right, like what you're doing is not a waste of time.
Yeah.
It allows you to gauge like where you're at too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how else you would really do that if you stayed at the same gym all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Roll with the same people. Yeah, like we were talking earlier, Lane and I, Aaron, about like when it comes to documenting your training, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so how I like to document it, break it down to like who I rolled with and kind of, okay, what did I get caught with that I usually don't get caught with and why? Like I'll break everything down to like the increments for that, but I think
You take it to like the next level with that.
yeah, it's mainly like jiu-jitsu specifically I do it with, like not so much like weightlifting. It's like, okay, I trained, I felt sore because of this, right? Very basic for that. But then I look at it and I go, okay, after X amount of rounds with the same people, why do I keep making this mistake, right? And then going to new places and seeing, okay, oh man, like maybe they're all just better at takedowns than me. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm getting put in my ass a lot. This isn't fun. Time to go back to the drawing board, work out the takedowns, figure out what's working, what isn't, and then switching it up. So I think it's important. What I'm curious, do you guys, like, because I know Lane does a bit as well, and I have other friends who do it, but do you, like, personally log, like, training? Like, how do you kind of follow what athletes are doing? Like, do you have, like, who's there with attendance and stuff, so you're able to track it, or do you kind of put that on them?
I don't do any formal like attendance or anything. I'm here every day, open to close.
Yeah.
If you walk through the doors, I know that you're here. I'm going to see you.
Amazing.
And we're not at a point where there's too many fighters for me not to remember.
Right.
I know how many times Lane is here in a week, and I know what classes he did. Just because I'm here, that's all I'm focused on. That's all I have to do is manage my fight team. I know people's strengths and weaknesses because I'm either rolling with them,
Right.
or I'm watching every single round.
Okay.
And so you can sit there and watch sparring, and you can watch rolling throughout the week and go, okay, this guy, we need to fix this.
Yeah.
And that's not probably the best approach. That's just, I haven't found that to be lacking yet. It's like, if you're on the mats all the time and you're focused on it, I do log fight camps.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if a guy's got a fight
okay.
coming up, it's a little different
Nice.
too, right? Like you're more like they're the focus, and like you'll be on top of like how training schedules and all
Nice.
that.
Yeah. When we're not, so I say we're either in fight camp or it's like a technical block.
Yeah, okay.
Is how I think about it. If we're in a technical block, okay, well, I'm watching your rolling, but you're not competing when you're in a technical block.
Right.
You might be trying something new and you're failing constantly, or you're tired, or you're not really trying, whatever, and I can tell that. It's like, okay, well, this guy's trying a new thing in jiu-jitsu and he's getting subbed all the time. I don't care. Keep working on that.
Yeah.
Fail. Who
Figure it
cares?
out.
In training camp, I have a spreadsheet. This is how many times I expect you to run. This is how many times I expect you to hit strength conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
These are all the classes I need you in, and away you go. And I trust them. If I don't make them tell me if they're doing it or not.
Right. Accountability's on them for sure.
That's it. And usually I can tell. It's like, this guy's cardio sucks through all of camp. You haven't been
Shouldn't be
doing
this
what
way.
I've said.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
Makes
to
sense.
find out.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
Amazing.
We kind of touched on that yesterday too with when you're in fight camp, that's not when you're like should be adding stuff to your game. Like when you're in fight camp, that's taking, like we touched on with Craig, like that's like sharpen up the skills you already have and get cardio. Whereas like the technical blocks are like that's where you get like better, right?
I think a huge part to adding like to the fight camp and everything, like it's because we've gone back and forth on this a bit, Lane and I, but trying your best in rounds and like just not kind of like your gym etiquette number 4, I think it is, like the no give up. It's like, how do you find the chinks in your armor if you're not trying your hardest? Like if you're not taking it seriously, right? Like I don't.
Yeah, like you should
I
be
can't
pushing
imagine.
yourself on like a daily basis, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think in a technical block, you're not in camp. I think you push yourself by exposing yourself to unfamiliar situations.
Yeah.
You try new things. You play the other guy's game to see what you learn.
Yeah.
I think in a fight camp, my philosophy, and I say it, is if you're in fight camp, I expect you to win every second of every round.
Jeez, okay.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And it sucks for your training partners, but that's what they have to put up with. And when it's their turn, you'll put up with it for them. So you get taken down. It's like, that's okay. That's a mistake. You get up and you now win that round. And I'm behind because I just got taken down. I get up. I have to put him against the wall, take him down, and beat him up. And that's every second of every round needs to be won, or we're at least attempting.
Yeah, you're trying.
We are trying to win.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, when did you first start in martial arts? Like when did you personally get going with that?
I was 12 or 13. So I was in grade 9, so I was 13.
Yeah, you're 13
Yeah,
right now, I think.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that
Not
makes
the person,
sense, yeah.
I'm not sure. But what made you start?
Fairly stereotypical stuff. I watched 2 movies and I saw 1 fight card in the same year when I was in grade
Nice.
6 or grade 7. I had rented En Bach
Great movie.
because it was in the Sunry movie theater and there was 1 copy of it and it was so strange from everything else in the Sunry, Alberta movie theater. And then like in that same month, I had bought a Bruce Lee DVD.
Amazing.
Classic, yeah.
Right, so I'm in grade 6 or grade 7. I watched those, and I think like, hey, martial arts is pretty cool. I want to do martial arts. And then I was homesick with the flu, and we had the Fight Network was brand new, and we got the Fight Network free for a month on satellite. And they
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
And they were playing every K1 Grand Prix from like '95
Come on.
Yeah.
And so I watched Remy Boniowski win the 2003 Grand Prix. Don't quote me on that. I think it's the 2003 Grand Prix,
Nice.
and he
I
fights
wouldn't know.
Musashi in the finals. And I went, okay, I don't know if I want to do martial arts. I think I want to fight.
Nice.
And so there was karate or taekwondo in my town. That was it. I begged my dad to let me in. He doesn't like combat sport, so I just didn't get to enter. I got my own bench press. I was lifting weights in my basement in junior high. I was training on my own.
Those classic garage workouts, right?
That's it, right? I made my own punching bag. Anything I can find. I don't have internet like here. My internet was so slow. You want to watch a 5-minute YouTube video, you let it sit for 20, 30 minutes. So anything I can get my hands on, I'm going to the library and I'm getting books on kung fu from the library.
Oh, geez.
And then,
Amazing.
like, finally, my parents went, okay, you've been obsessed for like 2 years on your own.
Yeah.
We'll put you in karate.
We'll give
It's
that
not a phase, Mom.
Yeah. That, and then
Epic.
I guess right away then to my brother-in-law, who wasn't my brother-in-law at the time, but my brother-in-law was watching UFC with his friends, and he said, well, come hang out.
Yeah.
So I went and hung out with him, and I watched Chuck Liddell knock out Bob Lucibral.
Oh, geez.
And
A
so
great introduction. To
Yeah,
yeah.
so, I still have a handlebar.
Let's go.
So that was another
Congrats,
light
by the
bulb
way.
where I went, man, I'm watching K1, I'm watching UFC.
Yeah.
I went, okay, this is it.
Nice. Now, I'm curious, do you have like a time, so you've been doing it for about a decade at least, you said.
15 years, 15, 16.
Wow. And your family has no like martial arts background, really, eh? Like,
No.
that's cool.
Me and my brother-in-law, he started Muay Thai when
Yeah.
I was in high school, so we were both training. He fought for a Canadian title, so it was he and I out of nowhere.
Nice, yeah.
Have you had a moment, I love asking this question, so do you have a moment or an experience where you were just out and about minding your own business and somebody wanted to like maybe saw the years or wanted to get into it, or like found out you trained and wanted to challenge
fight with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, not so much out and about, not in like a rough way. I don't look like a fighter. My ears aren't bad.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
You know, I carry myself, you know, you see my glasses, my short, like I carry myself pretty, I wear a fanny pack. Right? Like,
Amazing.
I don't walk
Get
around.
Vipers and everything.
Yeah, right. I don't walk around looking very tough, especially now. I tried harder when I was a kid, but especially now, I don't walk around looking very tough. In residence, though, like at university, you'd get guys wanting to, like, nobody wants to fight. Everyone there is from upper middle class. They're going to, they're going to school. They're not actual tough guys, but everyone wants to test themselves. So there was two. There was a guy just wouldn't drop it, and he wouldn't.
It's always how it happens too, eh?
Right. He's now one of my best friends. I stood up with him at his wedding.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But we had our little scrap in the middle of the floor, and I choked him out.
Let's go.
Well, and again, it's never a real fight, and they kind of go, "Oh, this works." Mm-hmm. And he came and trained, and he had 2 boxing fights.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he goes, "Oh, well, I should go."
Nice.
The other guy, same thing. The other guy was a street fighter. Considered himself a boxer.
Yeah, undefeated in the streets.
Yeah, and both of them were not mean about it. It wasn't malicious, but he went like, "Well, I want to try. How good are you? I want to test. I want to see." So we boxed, and same thing. It's like, "Well, I've been training my whole life. You haven't." Same thing. Same result.
Yeah.
So I've never had a nasty situation where someone's trying to test themselves, but I've had people want to test themselves.
And ironically, like, you've had some altercations just at the fights, right? Like on occasion, like, which is like kind of like, I mean, we don't have to get into that, but I mean, that's kind of funny, I think.
Yeah, I think some of that is I don't look like every other MMA coach out there.
Right.
And I've never fought, and most of them know that.
Yeah.
So if they're an MMA coach who identifies themselves as being a tough guy, I'm a pretty easy target. But I also just know it's like, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, that's so silly.
I've also trained. We're in the middle of the cage at Unified, surrounded by the commission.
Yeah.
What's going to happen here, man? You're going to hit me up. Been hit before. Like, nothing's going to happen.
Been hit before.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Amazing. Do you have something that kind of MMA, like the training or coaching even, has taught you that has applied to life very well for you?
Oh, man. Yeah, I get asked this question. I don't have a great answer. It's my life in here and my life outside are pretty intertwined. Mm-hmm. It's not. I don't find that I'm learning many lessons in MMA, and then I'm out in my life going, "Oh, this is a great moment to apply this." I've been doing martial arts my whole life. It is now just.
It's just part of who you are.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. It is now. That is my life. You talk about lifestyle. It's my lifestyle
right
now. I think there's some things like I study the greatest coaches I can find, and I do my best to go and meet them and emulate them and steal things. Well, I just do that now with everything. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Now, if I was going to restart a business, the first thing I would do would be go talk to an expert businessman and steal everything that he did. And, some of it's just like, some of it's just confidence, some of it's just conflict resolution. I know that I can learn anything. It's like, well, if I just try and if I just take time to actually study something, mm-hmm. I know I can do it. And probably a lot of that comes from this.
Right.
I have a very systematic, like it's a systems-based approach for coaching. Mm-hmm. And if I apply that in other things, I've found I have more success when I'm doing that. You're planning anything at home. I'm doing a renovation. It's like, well, first thing I do is I'm going to go hop into YouTube, study that, and then lay out a system. And that's what I do with MMA. Because I watch videos, I steal from the best, I lay out my system. Yeah,
and I guess like it would kind of like structure, right? Like mm-hmm. without really knowing it, like doing this kind of thing, it just you might not think about it at the moment, but it does like apply in the sense where it's like I'm less stressed out and I have like they're just more organized and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't do almost anything without a system in my head, like a structure. And you know, like I'm so used to a training schedule that now everything I do is like, well, this is now like, this is what we do on Mondays. And, you know, if I'm training my dog, it's like, well, it's Tuesday, so we should do this for training, and it's Thursday, so like, you know.
Yeah, and you've been doing for so long at this point that it's just like, it's just regimented, right? It's just, it just is what it is.
So with that regimen, I'm sure you've seen it, Lane's seen it, I've seen it, people kind of quitting or not having like the hardest like work ethic when they come in the gym, but they want to be there, right? How do you instill like a never quit kind of hard knocks mindset, if you will, into somebody who maybe doesn't have it, or like kind of switch it if maybe they don't and they might be, because I don't think you can be past the point of no return, but I think it always comes back into it, right?
That's really tough. I'm not a motivation coach. You know, I don't
like you gotta, it comes up to the individual, right?
Yeah.
I don't lead classes where we get pumped up and I'm encouraging you. Like that's just not me. You know, I know sometimes my classes for especially like beginners, right? Fight team practice, they want to be there. I expect them there.
Yeah.
Beginner practice, I'm sure some people think it's pretty dry. It's not that exciting. I'm not here to coach, you know, a Zumba class. I'm here to teach you how to fight.
Right.
I think like baby steps is important. If there's someone who, man, I've been through all these different sports and I quit everything and I don't have motivation, okay, well just get here. Mm-hmm. If you just, and I tell people that if they approach me about it, I say, look, set a schedule.
Right.
And don't bite off more than you can chew. That's a big thing I give beginners advice on. Mm-hmm. They go, well, I'm going to be here for 5 days a week for 2 hours. I go, no, you're not. I want you here Tuesday, Thursday for 1 hour. And that's it.
Interesting.
That's it. And when you can do that consistently, guess what? You've taught yourself self-discipline. That's discipline is not bowing at the start of class.
No.
It is saying, I'm going to be here every Tuesday, Thursday.
Consistency.
Right. Mm-hmm. And when you're here every Tuesday, Thursday, well, pretty soon you will start trying harder every Tuesday, Thursday.
Right.
And when that's normalized, cool. Why don't you start coming to Monday too? Okay, and that's good. Well, why don't you come
gradually,
sparring? Right, and now we're at 4 days a
smart.
week, and you're sparring, so you're probably trying hard.
Yeah.
You know, you have to build that up, but I can't do it for them.
Right.
They've got to actually show up. I don't live with them. You know, and I say that to people too. Say the gym is always here, and the gym is always open, and I will always coach you. But you got to get here.
Yeah, that's step one.
Yeah, you're not gonna like, oh, are you coming to class today? It's like, no, it's like, that's on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not gonna go pick them up.
Yeah. I'll do it to my fight team.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If my fight team is late for sparring, I will text them, and I don't ask it as a question often. Sometimes I'll put it as a statement. You're coming tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you're on the fight team, we have a different relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I can now demand things of you.
Right. You expect more.
Yeah.
As you should, right?
Yeah.
Like they're there, they want to be there, they're meant to be there.
Yeah.
Amazing. I really like that approach. That's really smart.
It's kind of like when we went over with the fight team meeting not too long ago, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's like, like if you want to fight, like that's great, but like you can't don't sit there and say I want to fight if you're not on the mats putting in that work, right?
No, that's really cool. That's really cool. I think that's very, very, like I said, smart. And I think a lot of, like, do you see that though with younger athletes, or is it more just like new people of all ages?
Yeah, I don't think age has anything to do with it. You get a lot of people in here older than me that you end up treating like they're an 18-year-old because they've never done anything consistent in their life. Yeah. And that's not a knock against them. Maybe they have 4 kids and a job that is crazy, but they say, well, I want to get in shape. You know, sometimes it is a young kid who goes, I want to be a fighter, and they've never had a role model to show them that. They've never done a school sport that taught them that. They've never learned that.
Yeah.
You know, so both people are the same for different reasons.
Huh. Now, do you have? Sorry. Go ahead, Lane.
No, go ahead.
Now, do you have kind of looking back and like, well, young in your career, obviously, but do you have a favorite like coaching moment that you can remember?
There's probably a few. Yeah, there's a few good ones.
I'm curious.
I mean, anytime a fighter wins.
Yeah, man, I don't know. There's one of the first fights I cornered for Craig. It was the first time I'd been actually, the first fight I cornered for Craig, he knocked the guy out in the first round, so I didn't get to do anything. Second time I cornered for him, I actually got to go in, and the first round went badly for us. And I went in and said, okay, new game plan. Stop doing what you're doing. I don't like it. You're going to do this and only this, and we're going to win the fight this way. And we went on, he won the next 2 rounds doing that.
Let's go.
And so that was a moment where I went, oh, I was pretty proud of that. I was,
Yeah, oh,
I
100%.
feel good.
I was like
That's
24
awesome.
and I went, oh, that seemed like a pretty pro move.
Yeah.
You know,
Just
it
does
was
it.
what it was.
That's
But-
crazy too to be
That's
like
awesome.
24, like, cause like you see some coaches like they have a lot of experience, but I've seen some like horrendous coaching where it's like that's not what that guy needed to hear in that moment. So to be like 24 and like have like the wherewithal to be like, okay, we need to do this, and have it work out like that is pretty awesome.
That said, I recently just had a fight where I made some pretty bad cornering mistakes, and nothing was that bad, but I'm not proud of how I was in the corner. And so, man, it goes both ways, and that,
Yeah.
I'm more experienced now than I ever have been, and I got emotional in that fight for whatever reason, and you go, oh gosh, you look back and that's not what needed to be said. That was a mistake. Don't do that again.
And so, and it's a learning process too, right? Like every fight is a little different, and there's so many variables going on. It's a chaotic environment, so yeah, no, that's good.
No, I asked Craig the other day about nerves before going in, like to a fight. But what about going in? Like, what happened nerve-wise? What's going through your head before coaching somebody?
Oh, I think I'm definitely more nervous than any of my fight team.
I was gonna say, you're probably like almost as much.
No
if not more so.
way.
Yeah, it's a bit of a joke now. I used to throw up before fights. I would sneak to the bathroom and like.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was horrible. I wouldn't eat. I'd have headaches for days after because I wouldn't eat or drink anything fight day. Like I was a wreck.
Damn.
It's similar to like watching
Wow.
your friends fight, because it's a little different coaching obviously because you're like there and it's with them, but like it's out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like kind of like, okay, like now it's time to go, right? And it's, yeah.
Some of it is like I put some expectations on the fights, where because I'm so young, in my mind it's well every fight matters,
Yeah.
and we're trying to establish our name, and so every fight is our reputation on the line, and we have to win everything. I'm also I'm really bad for not celebrating wins.
How many times have you smiled in the cage?
Right. We don't do after parties because our team doesn't do that sort of thing. We don't go and celebrate. There isn't a big party after. So I don't celebrate wins, but man, I'll obsess about losses. So I'm a horrible loser, and
You don't show it though, which
No.
is good, but like internally.
right?
Yeah.
And so I put that pressure. It's all self put on.
Yeah.
The nerves are because I hate losing so much.
It's not fun.
No, it's not.
It absolutely sucks.
No, and I know it's probably I need to take some precautions so I don't die young with it. But I also think it's like, well, man, I should not be happy losing.
No.
I shouldn't be comfortable losing. If I want my team to have the success I want them to have, then I should hate losing, and we should do everything we can to avoid it.
And it's holding yourself like to that standard of coaching, right? Which is good, right? Like you hold yourself like this is how I want to be like as a coach.
That's it. My mentor, he talks about that, and he always says, if my fighter wins the fight, they did their job. If my fighter loses the fight, I screwed up. And so if you take that on yourself as a coach, which I try to, then Lane wins, awesome job, Lane. Go have fun tonight. You killed it.
Nice.
If Lane loses, immediately I go, well, why did he lose? I could have seen that in training. We didn't have him prepared. I didn't do the right. It's not Lane's fault.
Yeah.
I trust that Lane has the skills to win. I didn't get him ready for that win.
Whoa. Interesting. Interesting. I want to go back a couple seconds ago. You said you don't celebrate wins. Why?
Well, I mean, like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, it's like we celebrate, but it's not like a big like thing, right? It's like
Right.
it's not like we're not gonna throw a party and like have a and it's like
Open house
good job,
and shit,
like you
right?
did your job, like that was whatever.
Yeah.
Some of it is that mentality of, I don't celebrate, it's not like I'm going and partying and being, it's not this, man, euphoric, we're having the best night of our lives.
Yeah.
But if you lose, sometimes it feels like the worst night, so it just, one feels worse. I encourage my fight team to go out, but some of it is that mentality of, he won, because, he won and he won. He did his job. I don't get the victory. Right? It's not my victory. I don't get to go claim that and go like, oh, I feel so great tonight. I also have the approach of, we shouldn't be surprised by winning.
That's what I was
Should be
thinking.
expected, right? Yeah.
Yes, you
You're
went
like, we're
out
winners, we're
and
gonna do
did what we
this.
planned to do.
Yeah.
Why are we losing our minds in excitement? We should have expected this, and we did expect this,
Yeah.
and this is what was planned.
Yeah.
So what's the celebration for?
Yeah, act like you've been there before, bro.
Yeah,
Amazing.
which is not, that's not, it might not be the nicest way to approach it. That's how I approach it.
Hey man, if it works, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It makes a lot of sense, and that's where I thought you were going to go with it, to be honest. I was like, yeah, we're meant to be here. We're winners. You put that out here with like the way you guys carry yourselves in the gym and the atmosphere and like the confidence you exude. Like it's to be expected, right?
All that said, like, I'm only speaking for myself.
Right.
I want my fight team to go out and have fun. As an athlete, it's like you have to, because if you take those losses way harder than you celebrate your victories, it's just such a brutal sport,
Yeah.
right? So this is my philosophy as a coach. I don't really want my athletes like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy your win. Go have fun. Don't dwell on the loss. That's my job.
Amazing. Check this out. There was, in my final year of school, we partnered up for a full year. You partner up, right? And there were 3 other people in my group, right? So the 4 of us to do all these classes together and all these projects, right? And before every single presentation, we each had like a thing we did. I had
a ritual or like
a ritual. But my buddy Amir had the best one, where he would do 3 wind sprints and high knees for 60 seconds in the hallway right before we present. Like, it's okay, guys, get ready to present. He opens the door. We're setting up the laptops and reading over the scripts and stuff. And he's just
getting that out of
yeah, I wish I could make this up. And he's like wind sprinting, and he's like bringing his knees up. Short soccer player kid. Oh, it's too funny. So I'm wondering, do you guys have both of you have any like rituals before going out to fight or before going out to coach that you guys do? Like, do you tie your shorts in a certain way or put your mouth guard in last?
I don't know about Aaron, but I don't really have any like ritual thing that I do. One thing I do is like I just kind of I'm not very religious. I don't like pray. I just I hope that both me and my opponent have a good fight and no one's seriously injured. I always just kind of like try to. I'll also like write down things in like a journal, like fight day, just kind of like just like positive self-talk, just to get my mind kind of like in a good headspace, and then I'll smudge as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
What about you, Aaron?
Not really. I don't have. I try to take my cornering job very seriously, so I guess like I do the same things every time. I don't know if I'd call it ritual. I pack the fight kit the exact same way. I know how to wrap hands very well.
Nice.
I still watch the same Stitch Duran video just so that when I sit down to wrap hands, I go, I'm not making a mistake today.
Nice.
I think our warm-up is the same. We have a very structured warm-up. And that, I think, is a little bit ritualistic for the fight team. And for me, there's all these nerves before. Okay, well, when we start our warm-up, it's going to look the exact same. And now there's no guesswork. So I'm on the timer. I know what's happening. They know what's happening. I consider that a ritual. Because
That's super effective too, right? Like
Yeah.
every time before I walk out, like when we've done that, I felt like very warm and like ready to go.
Yeah.
Like just getting, that's really good.
Right, there's no thought process, there's no wandering thoughts. It's, hey, we're going to work and I'm going to make you work hard before the fight, and it's going to be the same every time. And so that signals, hey, we're ready to fight now. Yeah, I don't have too many. But when I compete in jiu-jitsu, I take an ice bath the night before.
An ice bath the night before. Interesting.
You could argue it's like, oh, it's good for inflammation, whatever. I like the idea of it.
Probably mental too, eh? Like kind of just getting that like in the zone kind of thing.
Right, there's a little sadism in there. I'm going to sit in here and suffer, and I'm going to put up with that and deal with that, because tomorrow I have to be prepared to like suffer if I want to.
eventually, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
do you have kind of, as we look to wrap up, do you have like any final piece of advice or wisdom or like a message you'd like to pass on?
Just right on the spot.
Yeah.
No, not really, man. I think we talk about it all the time. I think people look at this as especially martial arts, as a source of magic. Yeah, I don't mean, like no touch knockouts magic, but, hey, we talked about discipline. You get the phone call, hey, I have no discipline in my life. I need to do this. And go, okay, well, it's not, signing up for martial arts doesn't do that. And people, you get the odd fighter, you get the odd guy going, man, my life is not where I want it to be. I think an MMA fight's going to turn it around. I really want that. I think that'll really change my life. It won't.
No. Yeah.
It is a grind. It's a consistent grind, and every single thing you have to make the decision to do it. You got to decide to show up. You got to decide to put in the work. You got to decide to diet. You got to decide to stay in the sauna. Every single round, you have to decide to come out and win. So it's not a magic pill. It's a very slow, step by step, based on your decisions.
Yeah, and it's not pretty, right? Like it's not all winning, and like you gotta accept the fact that like it's gonna be hard work. You're gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna be probably getting your ass kicked for a good, few years, probably maybe.
Yeah.
But and it's like it's just a grind, man. You gotta be ready to put in that work.
Yeah, nobody shows up to a football coach and goes, I'm just going to have one football game. That's a bucket list, and that's going to change my life.
Yeah.
But it happens every single day here, and it's the same. No, that's not how it works.
And how many guys like you said like, God, I'm gonna do this, and this, and they bang it out for a week, and you don't see them again. Like,
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And I guess that's like a downer of a message, but I think that's an important message to get out there. Is like, look, it's hard and it's tough, but if you want change, and if you want to, if you actually want to fight, it's like, well, that's how you're going to that's how you're going to learn. You asked about lessons from MMA.
Yeah.
That's how you're actually going to learn lessons from MMA,
Right.
is by consciously making those tough decisions every single day. And that's how you're going to actually improve. I don't think you put your kid in karate and they bow and they do a kata and they learn self-discipline and control. No, you learn self-discipline and control by choosing to show up, and by choosing to work hard. And
when you don't want to sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, really.
Yeah. that's where martial arts actually has like a positive effect.
Nice. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to roll out the red carpet for you. Where can people find you? Where can people connect? Where can they train? Fire it away.
You can Google us, Edmonton, Alberta, Kingdom MMA. I'm on Instagram at Coach Swirly.
It's a great handle.
Coach Swirly on Instagram, Kingdom MMA on Instagram, Kingdom MMA on Facebook. It's all the same.
Nice. So I just really appreciate your time today. I really appreciate you letting me in the facility and doing the show. And yeah, man, just nice meeting you, and thanks for doing all this.
Well,
So thank you so much, man. Really
thanks for
grateful.
having me, man. This is an honor. Thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Right on.
Thanks, bro.